Hey, boys and girls. I got a letter here from someone who did the beginning activity of last week's video, and she says, my idea of doing something that gives honor to God is when I help my little brother get dressed. He can't tie his shoes, and I help my other brother with his homework. Oh, that's a good idea. Boys and girls, let's talk about telling the truth. Can you name some times when telling the truth has been a good thing? Gotta think about that. Telling the truth was a good thing. Well, one thing we do know about the truth, when you tell the truth, you are making God happy. God is very pleased when we tell the truth. And our lesson today is called Difficult and Dangerous Words. Let's take a look at the share screen. All right, we're already on lesson number 11 for the spring quarter. It's Difficult and Dangerous Words, May 16th, 2021. You know where you are. You're in Miss Kathy's class, and I am so glad to see you. Let's see. Today's lesson, the lesson scripture is from Jeremiah 38, the 38th chapter, the 14th through the 23rd verses. And the key verse goes, Jeremiah said, obey the Lord by doing what I tell you, then it will go well with you, and your life will be spared. It sounds kind of like Jeremiah might be, you think he might be a prophet? Well, you're absolutely right. And so being a prophet, that means that this is in the Old Testament or the New Testament. If you said Old Testament, you're absolutely correct. And the key verse comes from the Jeremiah 38th chapter and the 20th verse. Right now, we're going to stop for prayer time. I'm going to count to 3. You stop the video and you say your prayer, and then you come back and we'll finish the lesson. How about that? 1, 2, 3, stop. All right, boys and girls, let's see what's going on with the words to know today. It's Babylon. I remember when I saw that when I was a kid, and I thought that was Babylon, but it's Babylon. It's a city that was in the center of Mesopotamia, the Mesopotamian Empire. The citizens of the kingdom of Judea were eventually exiled there. We've been talking about a lot of exiles and put into captivity, lately. That's that vicious cycle I was telling you about, that circle. They would get punished over and over again. Jeremiah warned the king of Judea not to go against Babylon, or his kingdom would be destroyed, is the sentence for today. And that is kind of what we're about today. The second word is counsel. That's advice. When someone gives you counsel, they give you advice. We usually think of a counselor because that's kind of what they do. They sort of give you advice based on what you're thinking and what they're thinking and whatever your problem is. Here's a sentence. Kate sought the counsel of the wise man of her village. Let's see. The next sentence is Jeremiah. The next word is actually a name. Once again, he's a major prophet of Judah from about 626 to 587 BC. And if you notice over here, the smaller number comes last because you're getting closer to the birth of Christ. And after the birth of Christ, they get larger again. The people did not like Jeremiah's prophecies. Is the sentence. The next word is official. A person who holds a position of authority in an organization. The sentence says the officials held a meeting to determine the date of the next Olympics. The next word is surrender. That means to stop fighting or resisting, to admit defeat, to give up. Surrender, give up. The enemy surrender to the king's forces. And the next word is spare, to choose not to punish or harm. The merciful king decided to spare the thief from execution. Zedekiah was the last king of Judah. The prophet Jeremiah warned Zedekiah to surrender to the Babylonians. Now we're going to look at from the source. It's from your NIV Bible.
Jeremiah, the 38th chapter, the 14th through the 23rd verses. Then King Zedekiah sent for Jeremiah the prophet, and had him brought to the third entrance of the temple of the Lord. I am going to ask you something, the king said to Jeremiah. Do not hide anything from me. Jeremiah said to Zedekiah, If I give you an answer, you will not kill me? Even if I did give you counsel, you would not listen to me. But King Zedekiah swore this oath secretly to Jeremiah. As surely as the Lord lives, who has given us breath, I will neither kill you nor hand you over to those who would want to kill you. Then Jeremiah said to Zedekiah, This is what the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, says. If you surrender to the officers of the king of Babylon, your life will be spared, and the city will not be burned down. You and your family will live. But if you will not surrender to the officers of the king of Babylon, the city will be given into the hands of the Babylonians, and they will burn it down. You yourself will not escape from them. King Zedekiah said to Jeremiah, I am afraid of the Jews who have gone over to Babylonians, for the Babylonians may hand me over to them, and they will mistreat me. They will not hand you over, Jeremiah replied. Obey the Lord by doing what I tell you, then it will go well with you, and your life will be spared. But if you refuse to surrender, this is what the Lord has revealed to me. All the women left in the palace of the king of Judah will be brought out to the officials of the king of Babylon. Those women will say to you, They misled you and overcame you, those trusted friends of yours. Your feet are sunk in the mud. Your friends have deserted you. All your wives and children will be brought out to the Babylonians. You yourself will not escape from their hands, but will be captured by the king of Babylon, and this city will be burned down.
Now we're going to look at the lesson book story. The key verse, Jeremiah said, Obey the Lord by doing what I tell you, then it will go well with you, and your life will be spared. Jeremiah 38th chapter in the 20th verse. Difficult and Dangerous Words is the name of the version from our lesson book. Zedekiah, king of Judah, called for Jeremiah in secret. He did not want anyone to know he was speaking to Jeremiah. Oh, it's like sometimes when you're at school or you're hanging out in the neighborhood with your friends and playing, there's certain kids that are not as cool or have a different reputation from you, and you don't want to be seen talking to them because you think my other friends over here won't think I'm cool talking to this person. It's pretty much the same thing in this case, okay? Now, the king said, Answer my question and do not hide anything from me. Jeremiah, the prophet of God, said, If I answer you, you will hurt me. If I tell you what to do, you will not do it. Jeremiah had been a prophet for 5 kings. The officials did not like Jeremiah's messages from God because he told them that the city of Judah would be destroyed. Only the people who surrendered to Babylon would live. They didn't want to hear that. But King Zedekiah said, As God lives, I will not hurt you or give you to the people who want to hurt you. Jeremiah then told the king, If you surrender to the king of Babylon, you will live, and the city will not be burned down. But if you do not surrender to the king of Babylon, you will die and the city will be burned. Wait a minute. We've heard this story before, haven't we? Something like this happened earlier. Well, you think about it and you let me know about it, okay? King Zedekiah said, I am afraid the Jews who are in Babylon will give me over to the king of Babylon to be hurt. Jeremiah told the king, do not be afraid. Obey God and you will live. Questions. Who was Jeremiah? He was a prophet sent by God to Judah. What was Jeremiah's message from God to the king? The king should surrender to the officers, give up to the officers of the king of Babylon. Your life and your family's lives will be spared, and the city will not be burned down. Now, we're going to look at the contemporary story for May the 16th, 2021, The Truth.
The Truth. The contemporary story for May 16, 2021. Mr. Wilton's third grade class went to lunch. While at lunch, Maria saw Elliot and Jackson take cookies from Adam's lunch tray, while Adam went to get a napkin and plastic utensils.
Mr. Wilton, someone took my cookies.
Someone took the cookies from Adam's lunch tray. Did anyone see who took the cookies?
No one said anything.
You should never take what does not belong to you, and you should always help by telling the truth. If you know, please come see me.
Adam sat quietly eating his lunch. When the class left the lunchroom, Maria said,
I'm sorry that someone took your cookies.
I hope someone saw what happened and tells the truth. My dad always tells me to tell the truth and make God smile.
When Maria's mom picked her up after school, Maria said,
I need to tell Mr. Wilton something. Will you come with me?
What did Elliot and Jackson take?
They took the cookies from Adam's lunch tray.
Would you tell the truth if you saw someone do something wrong?
Share your answers with your family and friends.
All right, it's time for Ruby's Lab. Ruby always has something to say.
Hello, everyone. Ruby here. Jeremiah told King Zedekiah a message from God about Judah and Babylon. Zedekiah did not want to hear the message, which was the truth. Because the king did not follow Jeremiah's instructions, Judah was destroyed, and the people were taken captive by Babylon. If God gave you a message, would you believe it? The Bible teaches us about God's love and gives us instructions to live for God. This week, make time to read your Bible and learn about God's truths that are in the Bible. Tell me what you read about by emailing me at mscathysclass@mail.com. Put Ruby in the subject line. Or send me a mail to the post office box 74514, Baton Rouge, Louisiana 70874. I really hope to hear from you soon. Bye-bye now.
Okay, this exercise is choose the best answer. For this activity, you will need to circle the answer that best completes each statement related to today's lesson. Let's see. Number 1 says Zedekiah was the blank of Judah. Is it A, king, B, priest, or C, lawgiver? And the people in the back row are answering so fast, they said king already. So the first answer is A. Number 2, Jeremiah was a blank from God. Who was Jeremiah? Okay, he was a prophet from God. And number 3, Zedekiah met with blank in secret. Oh, let's see, not, okay, yeah, see, Jeremiah. Simon, where did you come from? Number 4, Jeremiah told Zedekiah that they should surrender to the king of, I think that's C. No, A, Egypt. B, Babylon. C, Assyria. Thank you. It's B, Babylon. And number 5, King Zedekiah wanted to know the message from, of course, he had to keep in touch with the officials because they were like his homeboys, and he cared about what they thought because he didn't want them to, I can't fool you. Okay. He wanted to hear from God. Number 6, Jeremiah told Zedekiah that if he surrendered to Babylon, he could just go ahead and run away, be hurt, or live. A, B, he would live if he surrendered. A lesson overview. Key verse was from Jeremiah, the 38th chapter and the 20th verse. Jeremiah said, obey the Lord by doing what I tell you, that it will go well with you and your life will be spared. Let's see what's happening. Jeremiah was a prophet, and his prophecies from God, the kings or the people didn't care much for him because he was always predicting bad stuff. And the main thing he was predicting at this time was the city was going to be destroyed. Who wants to hear that? Dude, get out of here. With only the people who surrendered to the Babylonians were going to survive. That's what he said. But he's always taking, like every other prophet, the word from God in his ears and out of his mouth to the people. That's how God used them. The officials thought Jeremiah should be killed because the prophecy he spoke scared the people, scared the soldiers, and I guess it must have scared the king too, right? I think it would. He wouldn't admit it though. But King Zedekiah, he actually sent for Jeremiah and wanted to talk to him. He didn't want his political allies, those other guys, to see him talking to him because he knew that they would kind of turn against him. But he knew Jeremiah was telling the truth, but he called for Jeremiah to come and tell him something. So Jeremiah repeated what he'd been saying all along. He said, you're going to have to understand what will happen if you don't surrender versus what will happen if you do surrender. Here's today's artwork. If you're interested in being an actor, a voiceover actor, that means that just your voice will be there for our cartoon. It's a good thing to do with a whole family. And if you have a book, you can see what the stories are going to be like next. And just contact me by the email address and I'll give you the details and tell you and your family what to do. But I would not advise getting on by yourself unless you have your parents' permission to do that, okay? And to be a voiceover person, because we're going to need your parents' permission anyway. All right. So it's time for me to go. Let's see. I had some sweet tea waiting for me. I'm going to go get my sweet tea. And before I do that, when I get off this camera, I'll be praying for you. I hope you'll be praying for me because I love you. God loves you too. And you know there's nothing you can do about it, right? All right. Bye-bye, boys and girls.